Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Returning to the NBA dynasty is what the Warriors want quickly. It was announced that players will be hired so that the team can reach the championship finals. Rumors: Warriors want to make a trade for an interesting player. Golden State Warriors owner Joe Lacob has been vocal about his aspirations to reduce the team's payroll in the coming years, though that's easier said than done given the franchise also hopes of returning to championship contention next season. The Warriors have had the league's highest payroll in 3 of the past 4 seasons, having already made moves in the past 12 to 18 months to address the unsustainable nature of their roster finances. The James Wiseman for Gary Payton II trade last February certainly had a financial element, but even more so was the Jordan Poole for Chris Paul transaction that saw Golden State get off the former's 4-year, $128 million contract. Trading 2022 All-Star Andrew Wiggins for 2023 NBA champion Bruce Brown could help solve the Golden State Warriors' payroll issues. The Warriors' financial future will largely be determined on what happens with Paul and Klay Thompson this offseason, yet Andrew Wiggins' contract also presents as an avenue to open up greater flexibility moving forward. The 28-year-old has 3 years and about $85 million left on his deal, with his form having taken a steep decline this season, which led to an array of trade speculation. That will only increase again this offseason as Wiggins' salary is seen as the likely filler in any trade for a star-level player. However, if Golden State wished to simply move off the remaining years of Wiggins' contract, they could look at sending the Canadian home to the Toronto Raptors for 2023 NBA champion Bruce Brown. Brown is set to become available during the offseason, having been traded to the Raptors from Indiana in the deal for Pascal Siakam mid-season. According to the Toronto Star's Doug Smith, Toronto are expected to pick up Brown's $23 million team option before exploring a trade. The sense from a handful of league sources is that the Raptors are likely to pick up the option, then turn around and deal Brown quickly rather than wait until the 2025 trade deadline. Brown was vitally important to the Nuggets championship team last season, having averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, and over a steal in 26.5 minutes per game during the playoffs. While he wouldn't necessarily be an upgrade as such, and he'd likely come off the bench, Brown could be an impactful piece that allows the franchise to shave long-term money. One rival NBA executive has mentioned DeJounte Murray as the most realistic trade candidate for the Golden State Warriors this offseason. Golden State reportedly had interest in Murray ahead of February's trade deadline, though Atlanta chose to at least temporarily hold on to their 2022 All-Star, which did little but conclude in a play-in tournament exit. Speculation on Young and Murray's future will again intensify this offseason, with one Western Conference executive telling Heavy Sports' Sean Devaney that the latter may be the most realistic trade target for the Warriors this offseason. Of all the guys they might be able to trade for, Murray, is probably realistic because he does not make a ton of money and they could add him, put him in Chris Paul's spot, give up 2 first-round picks, and now you've gotten some defense in there, you've got another scorer in there, you have a guy who makes some sense. One recent trade proposal sees Golden State give up Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Gary Payton II and a 2025 first-round pick for Murray, but giving up an extra first-round pick instead of the fiercely talented Kuminga would be a far more sensible deal for the Warriors. Murray is about to begin a 4-year, $114.1 million contract, which could cause some hesitation from the Warriors were they to retain Andrew Wiggins, while they've got Klay Thompson's free agency and Kuminga's extension eligibility to also work through. Golden State Warriors reunite with Kevin Durant in crazy blockbuster trade proposition. Is there a reason to believe that the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant are bound to reunite in the offseason? Durant reached the high point of his career with the Dubs in the latter half of the 2010s, when he won 2 NBA titles with the team before going to the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns in search for another ring. He's still to accomplish that mission, which contributes to the rumors that he could potentially team up again with Stephen Curry and the Warriors. Kevin Durant back to the Golden State Warriors? Grant Hughes of Bleacher Report recently floated a huge trade proposition that sends Durant back to the Warriors via a trade from the Phoenix Suns. Under that scenario, the Suns will receive Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and a first-round pick in the 2025 NBA draft in exchange for arguably the greatest scorer in the history of the NBA. The Suns will push for an additional 2027 first-round pick, the only other one the Warriors can include, assuming this deal goes down on draft night. Meanwhile, the Dubs will try to swap in someone like Brandon Podziemski for Kuminga, whom the organization has labeled untouchable. In addition to those negotiating sticking points, Golden State is still taking on about $3 million more in salary than is allowed, and that's assuming it doesn't include Kevin Looney's non-guaranteed $8 million salary for 2024-25. Put all those hang-ups aside and consider, though, that the Warriors are one of very few teams more tied to an immediate win-now timeline than the Suns. Stephen Curry has 2 more years on his deal, and it seems clear the organization is committed to surrounding him with a competitive team. Durant will turn 36 before next season starts and comes with health risks, but he's probably the more valuable short-term contributor than Kuminga, Wiggins, or Moody. The Suns are coming off a season that started with immense promise and ended in a disaster. Plenty of questions now surround the Suns, who are also entering a new era, with Mike Budenholzer hired as Frank Vogel's successor. Trading Durant would be a huge undertaking for the Suns, but that would also alleviate their expensive payroll and get Phoenix younger assets to build on for the future. In 3 seasons with the Warriors, the former league most valuable player averaged 25.8 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 5.4 assists through 208 games.